Keep on it.
Rural Fire District number 2, meeting will come to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Forrest? Here. Mr. Ingraffia? Here. Mr. Joseph?
Present.
Mr. Bruno?
Here.
Mr. Ridgel? Mr. Mayu? Here. Mr. Wells? Mr. Vial?
Here.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We do have a quorum. Public input, anyone wishing to address any agenda item at this time? Okay, at this time, the chair will entertain a motion for adoption of the minutes dated March 22, 2021.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Vial. Second by Mr. Mayhew. Roll call, please.
Mr. Forrest? Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Motion passed and it's so ordered. I'm gonna ask y'all to speak a little bit louder for me. And I still got tinnitus in both ears due to my old military days. Sometimes I'll be here up here.
What'd you say?
Part 2 of the fire matters. Approval to purchase ladder and bottle holder.
Okay, so Ponchatoula's truck, it's a service truck / medical truck that they use. And they purchased it's like a utility box that slides into the bed. But they want to do some modifications to it to be able to handle the ladders, the air packs, and the bottles. And there's a company called Fisher Manufacturing located in Hammond that's going to fabricate this for them. And it's at a cost of $12,960.
Also move.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Ms. Coates, second by Ms. Hyde. Roll call, please.
Mr. Forrest? Yes. Mr. Ingraffia? Yes. Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
I abstain, Madam Chair. I don't even know
Mr.
what y'all
Vial?
voting.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
The motion passed and it's so ordered. Independence Fire Matters, we have 2 items. Ratification approval of full-time position and approval of part-time position.
It's actually instead of approval of a full-time position, it's a promotion. It's going from a captain to an assistant chief, and he's going from a rate of $12 an hour to $13 an hour. That's the item number 2, full-time position.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Mr. Bruno and seconded by? Okay, Mr. Forrest. Roll call, please.
Mr. Forrest? Yes. Mr. Ingraffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial? Ms.
Yes.
Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes and so ordered.
There's another promotion that goes along with that, and this person is going from firefighter driver to captain at a rate of $11 an hour, going to $12 per hour.
That's the full-time position?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so moved.
Motion by Mr. Bruno. Second by Mr. Forrest. Roll call, please.
Mr. Forrest? Mr. Ingraffia? Yes. Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel? Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Motion passes and so ordered. You got to, excuse me 1 second. Mr. Wells. Just come here 1 second, please. I need to see you 1 second.
Me?
Yeah. Sorry, excuse me. Monthly report of registers.
Well, we have one more position, Mr. Joseph.
Okay, so that's independence?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Instead of it reading, it should have read from part-time to full-time. The person is going from a part-time position to a full-time position at $9 per hour.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bruno.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mayhew. Roll call, please.
Mr. Forrest? Yes. Mr. Ingraffia? Yes. Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yep.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells? Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Yes. Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Motion passes, so ordered. Monthly report and registers.
It should have been emailed to y'all. Y'all should have them in y'all's email.
Yeah, so, any questions concerning that? No questions? Administrative report? Let's take item 4.
Okay.
Approval of VFIS insurance policy renewal.
Okay, so it's that time of the year again to renew our insurance policy. We have had some changes to it. It has been an increase for 2021, for 2020 and 2021. The premium rate was $287,473. For 2021 and 2022, the rate is going up to $323,557.11. Some of the factors that is going behind this, one, everybody's insurance is kind of going up throughout the state. But the other thing is, in a 5-year period, we've incurred over $700,000 worth of losses. We still have one pending that is going to be a large payout eventually, and they, in fact, that case that is pending, they just had some discussion with the attorney just last week. So, it is an increase, but when you have over, $770,000 worth of claims, I feel that we're lucky it's only gone up that amount.
Wasn't there some subrogation supposed to take place with a couple of those wrecks that weren't?
There are.
That we made claims on?
Yes, there are. Some of the ones that are not, the Hammond incident,
Right.
It is going after that person that ran into the building. So that's not part of this claim, these claims. The big thing is we have to do something to try to do something to lower the rates. So what I'd like to see and recommend, and we have our agent here, and him and I have been talking about this, is the fire department, Fire District 2 vehicles. I drive one. All of the firemen that are here drive one. It's a Fire District 2 vehicle. I would suggest that we do a mandatory defensive driving class. Anybody that drives a Fire District 2 vehicle should have to attend these classes. It is a free class that is offered through the insurance company that I'm waiting to get dates set, and then we have a facility, that we can do it. We can go anywhere for a driving rodeo. But that's something that we have to do. We have to start instilling safety into the driving of these vehicles. So with that being said, the premium, it's a pleasure of the board to go ahead and accept if they want to accept the increase of the policy. I think we're fortunate that it's only that much.
So then she said with 5 years they paid $700,000 in claim,
Yes, sir. And still one pending.
and it went up about $36,000.
The increase?
How much did it increase?
About 50 now.
No, it's about $30-something-thousand.
Okay, I just need to
$40,000, I'm sorry.
Try that in it works. Then I come to call it.
We had this discussion several years ago when we decided instead of each company, each fire department having their own insurance, we would combine the whole district. It would save us a lot of money. And it has saved us a lot of money. And according to the questions I've asked Dennis, even with this $30,000 increase, it's still saving each department a significant amount of money to still be grouped together. However, as we discussed several years ago, they may come a time in the future where one or two departments have more than the average amount of claims and causing everybody to have to pay more insurance. So, in my opinion, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but for now, it's still saving more than it's costing because we're getting this big bonus throughout the
I
whole
agree.
district.
Wasn't a couple of those claims, weren't their fault? It wasn't the fire department's fault?
No, I
It
mean,
wouldn't go against you if it's not.
some of these claims were flooding,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we got a
issues.
ton of them that they hit in the buildings,
Yeah,
running
I
off
mean-
in ditches.
Right.
I think what we need to do is look at raising the deductible.
That's a possibility.
I mean, that's something that could help. And some of these claims we're turning in that's less than a certain amount, some of these departments gonna have to start paying it out of their money.
Well, we have one that just just last weekend that took the truck out in high water. Didn't know what was in the water. They hit something. It did crack the fender well inside the truck, the cab of the truck. Waiting for the estimate to come back on that. But we got to stop making those claims like that. And if that department's going to have to pay for it, then, depending on the amount of the estimate, then that department's going to have to pay for it.
Okay.
Well, I got a question. And Trent might can answer this. If you drive it in water, is that a collision or a comp?
It falls under a collision because you drive it.
Okay, 'cause-
But that's not the point. The point is, if you
Sure.
ever get to the point where you have one or two departments
That
that
are
cause the
called-
majority of the
You're
claims,
right.
then we're gonna have to make a decision
Right.
to either exclude them and let them get it on their own, or either we gotta make the other chiefs aware that they're paying increased premium because of the unfortunate events that happen in one or two.
Yeah, I
But
think-
the statement I'm trying to make is,
Sure.
according to this, right now, we're
Still saving money.
Yeah, we're
Don't
good
worry
shape.
about keeping it all together.
When you talk about this defensive driving, would that be for all the volunteer fire department?
Whoever drives those trucks will have to take this class.
Would it
Okay,
help lower? Would it lower the
Never
insurance?
say-
I'm sorry?
Would it lower the insurance?
It would show that we're being proactive in doing it, but it also, from what I'm told, and years back when I was in Kenner, and I'm sorry to bring that up, but when I was in Kenner, we took defensive driving yearly, and we was able to use that to lower on our personal insurance
Right,
a defensive driving class.
Right.
So it's quite possible, I'm not saying it is, but it's possible that they maybe use that on their personal
We
insurance to get a
just
discount.
instilled that with the drainage board.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say the same
Yeah.
thing.
Buddy, you have something?
I don't need you to tell me now, but I'd like to see a list of where the claims are coming from.
Okay,
I agree.
absolutely.
And I have one comment.
Go ahead, David.
Some of the chiefs are here. Have you talked to some of the chiefs about this defensive driving?
I did talk
classes?
to a couple of the chiefs.
Okay, all right. I think it's the direction to go in. I really do.
Yes, I mean, I think it's something that we have to do.
Okay, you good, David?
Yes, thank you.
Trent?
With commercial 18-wheelers and businesses that drive large trucks, they have discounts if they have dash cams or video cameras recording. Do we have that installed in any of our vehicles?
No,
If
sir, we don't.
Would it cause a discount?
That's a question I'll have to, yes.
David Drake with BXS Insurance. I know we've spoken before in the past. To answer that question, I mean specifically, there's not a discount to say you have a GPS or a dash camera in there where you get an automatic credit of a specified amount, but rather it's more just trying to combat the amount of claims, the dollars that are being paid out. It's kind of like, hey, you're on your own. You see, I mean, everyone's, home insurance, auto insurance. We're in a state where we're some of the highest rates in the country. So it's almost just trying to prevent, or it's almost impossible to prevent, but minimize the amount of incidents that are occurring, because if they're happening, it's a matter of time whenever someone, it turns into a six-figure claim. And that's where we have two, for example, two of these claims that are open, and one that you're talking about right now make up $385,000 of this 770. And that's just two, right? So it's almost a matter of we gotta just instill the safety to where it's
And some of this stuff is common sense too. I mean, this truck that they took through the water the other day, this was the newest truck in the fleet. The newest truck in the fleet. Now, we got trucks over there that are 20 years old. Why do you have to, when a road is underwater, take the best truck you got and put it in water? Some of that, to me, it just doesn't make sense. If the road is underwater, what are we going through it for? We've already lost one truck underwater we had to replace, and now, my understanding on this truck, we're looking at what, $5,000, $6,000? At least. And it just was unnecessary. I mean, if the water's that deep where you can't see what's in it, you don't need to be putting a $300,000 truck in water that deep. And, this is the kind of stuff that, is causing our rates to do what they're doing.
One other question, Mr.
Go ahead,
Joseph.
David.
What is our deductible now?
1,000,
1,000. So we probably ought to think about that too.
yeah.
good possibility,
Yeah.
we could look at raising it.
Yes.
Can you run us some numbers raising that?
Certainly. For the auto, majority of the rate, as we say, is from the liability side. So really, that's the tough part, right?
Okay.
I mean, I don't have the specifics right in front of me, but typically you'd say about 80% of the overall auto premium is going to be for liability, meaning third-party injury ultimately, or damage to their vehicles. But no, again, for the cameras, it's always, a lot of businesses and a lot of enterprises and public entities across the state and the country are certainly going to cameras and GPS to try and do whatever they can to utilize, take advantage of technology. From a defensive standpoint, certainly if something happens, you can have that evidence instead of the burden of proof on the heavy truck to say, rely on witnesses, which it's very difficult. So, but obviously there's a cost associated with that, and it's hard to weigh the return of investment.
Well, can you look at our policy and look at some of the things that we could possibly do from y'all end that would reduce it? I mean, if it's not gonna reduce it by that much, it doesn't make any sense for us to do that.
Certainly.
But I mean, by raising the deductible from 1,000 to say 2,500, how much are we gonna save? If we did do the cameras, how much would we save? If we could just get some kind of idea, then we can, as a board, look at it and say, well, this is not worth it. If the camera's gonna cost us more than what it's gonna cost to pay the difference.
You know what it can be, though, a deterrent
Yeah.
to think a little for a few seconds
Yeah.
more before you do drive it in.
We can get options to look at from every aspect, property as well. I mean, that's another. I mean, that nothing was immune to an increase, unfortunately, this year. Obviously, we're well aware of the storm season that we had last year, and just you can't catch a break on anything, unfortunately.
Okay, Trent?
How do we pay our insurance? Monthly, annually, quarterly? Can changes be made at any time or only at renewal?
Changes to the policy
Like, he wants to change the dog.
at any point in time.
Okay, when's the renewal?
6/1, June 1.
So what do you say, even if we accept this, we can change it back to what's after he gets back?
Correct.
Okay. Any more questions?
I'll make a motion.
Well, hold on.
Shoot.
What y'all talking about the defensive driving class, we're doing that annually at the training board. I think y'all mentioned that, but we can, I don't know how many folks you have, but we're gonna have it in our conference room, and y'all are more than
Well, we
welcome.
got the EOC that we can do it here, or, we
Hold up, guys.
we can do it here.
We're getting ahead of the game now. Hold up 1 second. I got it here now. And I want my parliamentarian to correct me, Lionel. We ended up with 2 discussions here. One is insurance, one is defensive driving. Y'all wanna do the insurance first, then let's talk about defensive driving? Okay.
Works.
I make a motion to accept the premium.
Okay, motion by Mr. Mr. to accept the premium renewal.
Second.
Second by Mr. Vial. Roll call.
Mr. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes.
Mr. Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ritchell?
Yes.
Mr. Mayu?
Yes.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde? Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passed. So now we entertain a discussion as to whether we want all our personnel to take the defensive driving course.
So I have a question.
It's really hot on this, yeah.
Do we have e-logs or on the big trucks? Do you know, like, are we required? No. So electronic devices that track speeding and that.
None of
kind
the trucks, no,
Okay.
no man.
Well, that'd be hard to do. I mean, when you got a fire, you got to hide there. You got to get out of there.
Well, true.
Yeah, you got to hit the road.
Yeah, look, we gotta
But
slow
make sure you
down.
have a
I
fire,
think you
Kim.
want to come forward to your house.
Taking the time. Well, it's still, I was got here earlier, but I couldn't drive over 25.
Make sure they go into a fire. What's the next item?
That defensive
The
driving.
defensive driving.
That wasn't on the
So
agenda,
it
really.
is
Oh, yeah,
offered.
you want to add it?
We're just gonna discuss it.
We'll discuss
I mean, y'all just gonna kick it around?
Yeah.
Yeah, kick it
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. I guess we.
I don't think we're going to decide that tonight, huh?
I think it's a very good idea, and I'm gonna ask it to be put on the agenda for the next meeting.
There you go.
There you go, sell it.
How's that?
That's
That
sell.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Motion by Mr. Bruno to add defensive driving to the agenda.
You don't need to, you don't need to do that. No.
Y'all want to discuss it then?
No, we gonna put it on the agenda.
Okay.
We'll
And you can get all the
Bring us
details.
some facts and some stats and let us know
Yes.
what we did.
And it is offered through the insurance companies.
And Dennis, in those stats, can you include those claims Or by department?
by department,
Yeah.
yes.
And I'll be honest with you, I can't see any organization that handles the volume of business we handle, parish government, military, and not have defensive driving courses. That's my opinion. Okay.
Agreed.
We're gonna table Miss Virginia Baker's presentation.
I move that we table, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Madam Swell, table. Second by Mr. Parish, roll call.
Mr. Forrest?
She was here.
Mr. Graffia?
Yes, she
Mr.
was.
Joseph?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Ridgel?
Yep.
Mr. Mayhew?
Yep.
Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Vial?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Ms. Coates?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passed, and I'll keep you all informed as soon as we'll do it again. Other fire matters.
One of the other things I wanted to bring up, and I know I've spoken to several of the council members before, the fire departments are doing the fire reporting systems, emergency reporting. I know I've talked to a few of y'all, and look, that I was telling them that the fire marshal's office is offering a free one to report their fire calls. And speaking to all of the departments, speaking to the fire marshal's office, I'm going to side with the chiefs that the one that is being offered from the fire marshal's office is not up to par. That's what the fire departments have been using. So I took it a step further, and it's emergency reporting is the name of the system that they're using, the program that they're using. So I called emergency reporting, and each individual department are subscribing to this program that they're doing. I had the guy come in and we did a conference call. I did have Ira Brown from 8th Ward come and sit down and listen. Charles Slicker from the Talbany come down and sit down and listen. And what I asked the guy is, look, can we do a group subscription to this? And he said, absolutely we can. We had to do 8 departments to get a discounted rate. So just to kind of give you an example of what the savings is, and Ira's happy. I've spoken to Husser about it. Right now, 8th Ward is paying $6,078 for this program. If pooling it together and combining all of this together, he's now going to pay $3,600. So it's like a $2,400 savings for 8th Ward. And it goes on through all these departments. LaRonja is coming on board. So right now the departments that have it is Kentwood, Natalbany, Independence, Husser, and 8th Ward. LaRonja is already subscribing. I told them to put it on hold until we can finalize this group package. Wilmer wants to get it. They've been in contact with the guy, but they were kind of hesitant about the price. Spoke to Ponchatoula chief, and he's for it to go with this new system. And it's like $3,600 for each department instead of $5,000 and $6,000.
So we're gonna have 8?
Yes, we do have
We'll
the
have
8.
8.
Yes.
And 2 do not want it?
Well, the man shack is one that he just don't have calls.
Right.
The other one is Baptist, and they are sharing their reporting system with the city of Hamburg.
Okay.
So we have the remainders of the district.
Okay.
So we are gonna, I am gonna move forward to try to get this package deal combined. So the chiefs, the ones that I've spoken to all of them basically. They're all happy with the fact that it's gonna be at a reduced price now.
Is this like a monthly subscription?
It's a yearly
What about the
subscription.
departments that already purchased it?
What they will do, they will get a credit of the money that they have invested in paid to it. They will get a credit. So.
Okay, any questions?
I think it's good.
Okay, anything else, Dennis?
That's all.
Mr. Wells, you want to do the honor?
Oh, it's time? Well, it's my pleasure to move that we adjourn.
That's what we are. Oh, you got something else? Okay, good.
Oh, we have something?
No, I just got something I want to bring up real quick. It ain't gonna take but a second. The Chiefs Association has been kicking around for a while, looking at revenues for the fire districts and that sort of thing. They actually have talked about maybe we have something on the agenda tonight to discuss it. I held off because I haven't had a chance to talk to all of y'all about it. But what they're looking at is several different ways on raising revenues for the district. But in my discussion with them, and I think I've had discussions with most of you on the board, before we go forward with some kind of revenue raising measure, that I think we all in consensus are looking at the funding that's already out there and where this money is and, you know, how much of it's out there. Because before we go out and ask the public for any more, there's going to be a lot of questions about a lot of money that's already out there that's not in circulation. So I think what probably needs to happen is there needs to be a committee appointed by you with some of the members of this board and some members from the Chiefs Association, and the discussions can start. It's going to take a while before anything comes to be brought before the public or anything like that. But I think everything needs to be on the table. I mean, you got to look at every single thing that's out there before you go out and ask the public to fund any more. You know, I look at the school board situation the other night. That was 20 years in the making. It took 20 years before the school board ever got that tax passed. And we've been blessed here at parish government. The fire district does have 2 10 mil property taxes. So we're lucky that we have that. So I think all of us agree that before we go and ask the public to fund something else, we need to put all our eggs out front and let the people see what we have. And until we do that, I don't think we're ready to go forward. And that's why we talk so much about this equipment and all of this. You know, when we have departments that are saying they don't have any funds, but they're spending $350,000 on a truck, when we can probably find a used truck that would do it. So we really need to talk about all of this stuff when it all gets out, and I would hope when you appoint that committee, that committee can work in conjunction with the chiefs, put everything on the table, look at it, and bring it back to the full board for a decision to be made whenever that time may come.
Okay, we probably can get that committee going back to the next meeting.
Well, I think what you need to do, Lewis, I would recommend, Mr. Polito is the president of the Fire Chiefs Association. I would recommend maybe you and him have a meeting.
Okay.
Y'all kind of get the ground rules together on what the committee's going to do and what it's not going to do, and then reach some agreement of how many commissioners are going to be on that committee and how many chiefs are going to be on that committee.
Okay.
And then I would recommend that Dennis be on that committee also.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll get together. Go ahead, John. You have something?
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Y'all have to realize something. When these percentages were put in place in 1975, that worked in. It's antiquated. I have a $400,000 a year payroll. Okay, I got trucks at 25 and 30 years old. I can't write a check for a truck payroll.
John, come up to the podium, please.
I'm sorry. But that's something y'all need to take into consideration. We have to get away from these percentages. We are one fire district. And the tax call said y'all are responsible for replacing equipment throughout the whole district. Okay, not just certain departments. So that's something we have to think about. That's an antiquated formula. That was done in 1975 because the auditors told the fire board at the time they couldn't bank all this money up. So they just started distributing our percentages. That worked then because you didn't have property insurance, you didn't have all these big payrolls that you had to deal with.
You know, I don't think there's no question, Carlo, me and you both been here a long time.
I wasn't here in 75.
No, not 75. But you know, years ago, we had almost a total rural municipal fire department with volunteers. We had a rural area, and now those areas are no longer rural, and those departments are no longer volunteers.
That's right.
Operating off of some of the same funds.
Look, and
That's where you come
I
from.
don't want to offend none of the fire chiefs that have money. That's not my point here. Okay? Y'all don't get mad at me. So, but it's something we need to look at,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah, we understand, we're tracking.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, John.
Let's come up with the name for this committee right now.
Well, I think, in all due respect, I'd rather you have that.
Committee? Okay, all right. Okay, anything else, Dennis?
That's all.
Anything else from anyone else?
Mr. Richard would be a good one. He was here at 75.
Oh, you born or something like that?
Okay,
What did you say?
Mr. Wells, would you like to do the honors?
Oh, yeah, it's already on the table, man.
Mr. Wells moved to adjourn.
Yeah.
Meeting adjourned.